Do you often tell yourself that you can't trust men and yet you are in a relationship with one? Hi, this is Noemi. I am a retroactive jealousy specialist. So what happens if you feel retroactive jealousy and it is linked to this thought that I can't trust man, or the feeling, the sensation, this embodied experience that there is this lack of trust to towards men. So kind of I want to be in a relationship, but I can't really be in a relationship because I don't know how to trust. And you might even be aware that this is related to some misconceptions and some overgeneralizations from your childhood or teenagehood, when you might have seen guys having several lovers and things, or might be even that your partner had several lovers and girlfriends at the same time. And because of this, you kind of feel bought into this stereotype that men and fidelity somehow don't coexist. And of course, if your value is that you want to be in a dyadic relationship where you are committed, so one of the strong pillars of relationships, romantic relationships, is commitment. Yeah. So you both have said, I want to be with you. And we're building a relationship together, maybe have children, maybe arrange things, careers in such a way that it's compatible with both of your needs. So there's a commitment, and then there is the trust that I trust you. I don't want to be worried about the future. I don't want to be spending energy on things like questioning these things. I trust you. I trust you that you are going to be there for me, that you are there for me, that this relationship is something that is strong enough that can uphold all us together and maybe the family that we might have. So, of course, when you have the thoughts of infidelity, then these things are kind of difficult, because if you want a partner who is committed and who you can trust, and you have explicitly said that no coloring out of the line, so you neither of you tolerate if the other person has an affair, and then you really need to trust the other person rather than constantly monitor, are they going to, or is there. And of course, one of the things that can happen in retroactive jealousy, you might actually look at it as proof that they are not trustworthy, that because they had all those relationships, somehow they are not trustworthy. They might actually go back to their ex. They might wake up one morning and think that they have settled for you and they want somebody else, or it's not enough to be with one person. And what I want to say is that if you have had these difficult conversations with your partner, so basically you know what you want, you know what your values are, you have discussed these things, you have discussed the vision that the two of you have for the future together, for also what is my vision for myself in life, because you are an individual, which is to say you have your own visions, you have your personality, you know yourself, you know what is best for you based on your experiences. Things can change and things do change, but at least you know where you're now and where you're heading. And they know where they are now and where they are heading, and how you can stay as an individual with your own goals, with your own aspirations, how they can, as well as how you can work together so you can support each other rather than compete against each other, or even worse, sabotage each other, right? So, how can you work together so that you can build a life where you really have a sense of self as an individual, with their aspirations and with their goals and with their actions towards their goals, as well as how you function within the relationship where you're building something together, where you're both supporting each other. So if you have had these hard conversations, if you have that strong basis of your relationship, if you think about it as a house, you don't want to build your house on sand. And you definitely don't want to build a house without a good foundation. So you have these strong foundations, and then of course you have the pillars of your relationship, which is commitment and trust, and then you have the things, the everyday activities that you do. So if you, for instance, haven't had them, then you might actually be experiencing doubt, and you might be experiencing fears, because you need to have them if you want to have a vision for the relationship together. And then you might actually be busying yourself to some extent with retroactive jealousy, especially if it's at the lower end of the spectrum rather than so immense that you can barely function. So you then you probably want to have those conversations. Look, this is how I feel, this is how I saw man. Can you? I do not want to see you that way. I do not see you that way. That's why I'm with you. But that doesn't mean that sometimes I still have those fears and I project them on you. I know that I project them on you. I don't want to do that. But it happens. And by the way, these are the actions I'm going to take. So, for instance, I want to work with somebody on this, but I want to involve you so that you know what's happening and so that you know that I'm not blaming you. And I don't want you to have questions or doubts. Because I love you, I'm committed to you, and I'm willing to take ownership of this problem. I'm willing to change this so that we can have the relationship that we both deserve. So yes, if you have these misconceptions, these stereotypes in your mind, then that's where you want to start. You want to acknowledge that yes, this has happened, but make sure that you know that just acknowledging that there is a problem, or just acknowledging that you have biases, that you have you believe in certain or stereotypes, or they color the way they live your daily life, or the way you see men, doesn't necessarily change things. Just knowing that, yeah, doesn't necessarily change your experiences. For that, you have to work at deeper levels about what is it that is making you distrust. What is it about yourself that you feel that you can't deserve a loving partner? Because you can then resolve that, and then the consequence is that all of a sudden you can actually accept that love. You have the capacity to feel that love without doubting it.